Welcome to the Big Ten on ESPN. The 20th season of use for the Kohl Center as the Badgers host the Boilermakers in a key game for Purdue. The Boilers have lost 2 in a row in the closing seconds to Ohio State and Michigan State. So when you look at the Big Ten standings, if you're going to win the regular season, Purdue really would like to win out with 4 games remaining, including this one. But Robbie Hummel, Jason Benetti along with you. Purdue is still a 1 seed, according to Joe Lunardi, even with those 2 losses in conference play after a 19-game win streak. So, Robbie, why are they still a 1 seed in your book, other than the fact that you played there?
Well, that is not the reason, but you look at the resume they've been able to put together, no bad losses. You look at the last 2 games, a lot of people are going to lose at the Breslin Center. The way they lose, Miles Bridges makes a big-time shot. The Ohio State game disappointing because you have a 14-point lead, end up blowing it. Kata Bates-D up with a nice tip-in, but still a lot to play for. They get it done on both ends of the floor. This team, to me, still has the look of a 1 seed.
Vince Edwards, if they are going to be a 1 seed and go deep in the tournament, you would think has to be the guy that he was before he ended up with the flu for a week and a half.
No, I mean, he's a huge part of this team, and he's got to shoot the basketball better. Last 2 games, 26% from the field. Last 5 games, just 13% from 3. A guy that needs to get it done from the perimeter.
A lot of historical energy in this building tonight. Many Badger players from the past are here to honor Frank Kaminsky, whose jersey will be retired at halftime. So we'll see how Wisconsin comes out here at the Kohl Center as Aleem Ford, who's been shooting the ball very well, misses the opening shot.
It's going to be so important for Wisconsin to get off to a good start tonight. They have struggled at home. Michigan down 15-2, Northwestern down 18-1.
This is going to be Wisconsin basketball, but that Michigan game over the weekend, the Wolverines went out at halftime 44-22. Now, Wisconsin put up some big points in the second half, but that's not the point.
No, and they were a different team in the second half. You saw a much more assertive Ethan Happ. And tonight, they want to knock off this Purdue Boilermaker team. He is going to have to obviously be a huge part, but you got to get contributions from guys like Aleem Ford, Khalil Iverson, and Brevin Pritzel.
That's a travel for Iverson, and you may recall, if you saw the first meeting, it was very lopsided for Purdue. Hit a bunch of threes early in that game at Mackey Arena, and it was really a no contest.
No, they got blitzed, and they turned the basketball over 20 times with their pace. Usually that's around a third of their possessions. Tonight, got to take care of the basketball. Also got to make some shots.
No double comes, and we have a foul called by Gene Steratore on the back end from Haas. Gene just off his Super Bowl lot from a couple of weeks ago. Congratulations to him and his crew. Foul is on Happ, his first, and Isaac Haas will get you in foul trouble
Yes,
now.
he will, and that's an interesting look right there. Ethan Happ, one-on-one. We've seen the last 2 games, both Ohio State and Michigan State, allowing Isaac Haas to play without a double team. We'll see if Wisconsin sends different people from different looks throughout this game.
How would you play Isaac Haas?
I think that's the way. I think you do have to let him play one-on-one, but you got to shut the perimeter down. You have to make sure Matthias, Thompson, Edwards, and Edwards do not get looks. But that's easier said than done.
There's Carson Edwards off the step back for 2.
He has been in such a rhythm really this whole season, but even the last 2 they've lost. But he's still averaging 21 points and 5 rebounds a game. Comes up a little curl there. So confident.
10 straight games in double figures for Carson Edwards, the only non-senior in this starting lineup for Purdue. Brevin Pritzel. And the offensive rebound for Happ.
Thus far, Wisconsin is generating good shots. I mean, that is a good look. Ethan Happ, he draws so much attention. Pritzel and Ford have to be ready to shoot at all times.
Oh, he puts Haas in the blender and ties the game.
Ethan Happ has a lot of ability, and right there, goes to the package early. Beautiful spin move, gets to his right hand, and finishes.
Kind of has point forward sort of qualities.
No, he does. And you look at the way he spins, he does not look like a big. He looks much more like a guard.
Catch and shoot. Carson Edwards, so dangerous. He has all 5.
Really, that's just too good a look. You cannot give him the type of space. He's a very confident player. You're going to lose track of him. It's going to be a long night.
He had a 50-point game as a high school senior. In that game, he was 13 out of 15 from three-point range.
He sees one go in, and it's on. We've talked about Ethan Happ, what he can do. This right here gets him going left. Beautiful spin right back to that right hand. Think about him. He can go both ways. He can go right. He can go left. He's got an up and under. He's got spin moves. He really has the total package in the post.
Now Greg Gard's going to try and steal a couple minutes for Nate Reavers, his freshman out of the state of Minnesota, in for a half for the moment. Khalil Iverson, who is now 0 for 23 from 3 this year. That is uncharted territory for Iverson, as a foul down low away from the ball on the shot from Purdue and P.J. Thompson. It's on Reavers. That's his first. You thought he did a pretty good job in the first meeting.
No, I did. He was in foul trouble, but he's got a lot of ability. And you look at him, he's a year away in the weight room from being ready for this matchup. Now, they need him to play because of that roster situation. I think he's going to be a very good Big Ten player. He's got a lot of skill, and he's battling.
Nice save in the corner. And here comes Wisconsin in forward. Iverson, and Haas rejects him. Transition for Purdue. Vince Edwards to the rack.
Not very good transition defense there by Wisconsin at all. Vince Edwards, a guy at the 4 position, can take it off the glass and get it going in transition. They just never stop him. Have to stop the basketball. Really a missed opportunity. Khalil Iverson, honestly, you could solve that. You just got to make that layup.
It's going to go against Wisconsin, so a Badger turnover. And that's the type of shot that can get Vince Edwards out of a little bit of a mini slump.
Yeah, we talked about it with Carson Edwards. Just need to see it going once. Vince Edwards the same way. He's been through a lot of Big Ten basketball games. Very confident guy. You give a guy an easy one, you run the risk of letting him get his head up.
Purdue's won 4 straight in this series after losing 4 in a row before that win streak. Haas against the returning Happ, and he missed it off the window.
But really good defense there by Happ. Doesn't let Haas get too deep. Walls up, makes him score over the top of him.
Happ against Haas. Played against each other for a couple of years now, and Happ sized him up but couldn't finish. Dakota Mathias lost it on the way up, and a Purdue turnover.
Mathias, a guy that also hasn't shot the basketball well as of late, just 35% in Purdue's last 2 games.
He's been good from 3, but not from inside the arc. What does Wisconsin need to go right tonight to win?
That's got to go in. I mean, that is a good offensive possession. You've got a guy that's shooting the basketball well, good shooter, but he's got to make some. Think about that, Jason. It can be deflating. You know, you have possessions where you work and you get a good shot. You see it continuously not go in, as we see Vincent Edwards get to his right hand again. It can really deflate your team. Wisconsin needs to see one go in. We talked about the slow starts, and so far, another one here tonight.
So it's Edwards' 9, Wisconsin 2 in the first 5 minutes and change here in Madison. Davison, who's been dealing with the bum shoulder, and now Happ decides to uncork a 3. P.J. Thompson, who really buried Wisconsin in the first meeting. He was 4 for 5 from 3, and you'll take that shot every day.
Wisconsin incredibly fortunate there. Thompson gets a great look. Have to feel really good about the way this game has started if you're a Purdue fan. So far, very efficient in the offense.
Reverse layup is good for T.J. Schlunt, who had 6 points this calendar year coming into the game.
Well, not a guy that has really scored the ball for this Wisconsin team, but any way you can get it right now. Just to see that basketball go in, and we'll see if that lid kind of comes off here.
Purdue ball when we come back. Wisconsin getting some contributions from the bench early on. 9-4 the Boilers.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by BMW. We only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine. And Travelocity. Wander wisely.
Jason Benetti, 11-year Boilermaker Robbie Hummel. And look, people are defending Isaac Haas a little bit differently recently, right?
No, they are. And we've seen Michigan State and Ohio State both go with the really stance that we are going to let him play one-on-one and make them a stagnant team. Purdue's offense, one of the best in the country. They really have moved the basketball. We see this from the Bahamas. You're going to trap Isaac Haas, and they're one of the best teams in the country at swinging this around the perimeter and finding these shooters for open jump shots. Here, it's going to be Carson Edwards, the beneficiary, knocks it down from the wing. As of late, we see Michigan State. It's going to be straight up one-on-one, and this is a good possession for them too, because he's a guy that can score the ball. But look at the four defenders here as they are stagnant. Purdue is stagnant. Going to make Isaac Haas make a play, which he is very capable of doing. But Purdue, to me, is at its best when they are swinging that basketball around, moving that thing, and getting shots for everybody.
That's why they've been so good from three-point range, 42+% for the year. And you look at Isaac Haas's shot numbers in the last 6 games. 5 of the last 6 games, he's been double-figure field goal attempts, and he only had done that 4 times in the first 21 games on the whole.
Just makes you a team that is so dependent on him to score the basketball, and he's done that at a rate of around 57%. But you have to think, rim at the rim, he shoots 60 on the year.
Davison off the kick out, buries the 3, half did the work.
Yes, he did. Goes in there, keeps the possession alive, and Brad Davison able to knock it down, get this Kohl Center crowd into this game.
You know they want to be on Frank Kaminsky night. You know there's some energy to be had, and Carson Edwards tries to suck some of that out of the crowd with another tough shot.
Well, he cuts so hard, and right there, the beneficiary of a great screen comes off. And really an answer here for this Kohl Center crowd.
How often do you see him not sprint off a screen?
No, that's one thing he does extremely well. He is very good at not only using screens, but using them with pace.
Hummel-esque, really.
I don't know about that. I was not running hard off screens like that.
We did find out before the game that you still have your shooting touch, though. During shoot-around, you're knocking down some J's.
Trying to.
You love the Kohl Center to shoot at.
Ethan Happ's got to go to work here. Got a freshman on him.
Happ, second chance, got it.
Ethan Happ, one of the best players in the Big Ten Conference, and if you're going to put a freshman on him, even if that freshman, a very good shot blocker, got to go right at him.
Clock is stopped at 12:22. There's no whistle yet, and now the clock has restarted, so nobody's noticed. It's going to be a 20-minute and 15-second half. So now there's the horn and the whistle. And Steratore, Riley, and Green will go over. Look, the Big Ten season ends early this year because of the conference tournament. So we're just trying to get as much Big Ten basketball as we can in February, honestly.
No, yes, we are. And these refs are going to take a look and see where this clock actually ends up stopping and how much they're going to put back on. It's going to be a pretty sizable amount, I'd say. Since we're watching, very good defensive possession for Wisconsin.
Hang on.
1 and done for Purdue. I'm trying to analyze here, man.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how much time's left on the clock, which is more important.
We're going to leave this to the refs, man.
Okay.
They are very good at their job. Leave it to them.
What were you saying, though? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it was a great defensive possession. Purdue's 1 and done, keeping him off the glass, forcing Vincent Edwards into a tough shot.
Look, Wisconsin 1 for 6 to open the game from three-point range, and they're within 3 at the 12-13 mark. You would imagine Greg Gard would take that as a good sign.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, he is going to take that every day of the week. You're right there with the number 6 team in the country. Haven't played well. You've got some good shots, haven't made them. They need guys like Aleem Ford, Brevin Pritzel, and honestly, you need Khalil Iverson to give you something offensively, too. He comes off his last 2 games, 2 and 3 points. Now, he had 7 assists against Michigan, but he has to be active, and he has to be a guy that contributes.
You know, it's an interesting night for Greg Gard, because when we were talking to him before the game, he said, look, we've had to kind of reestablish our culture at points this season because they have lost so much with Vito Brown and Nigel Hayes and Bronson Koenig and Zach Showalter. A lot of those guys are in the building right now. So you have a piece of history here, and you'd like to combine that along with today's game and get yourself a win. But quite a bit of the culture change is actually here at the Kohl Center tonight because it's Frank Kaminsky night.
And you would think as a Wisconsin player that has to fire you up. I would think you see these guys that have had so much success. They've been to Sweet 16s. Have to think seeing them in the building has to be a motivational factor.
By the way, we got under 12, so we're going to step aside.
All
We'll
right.
be back. Back to Madison, and don't forget, after our game, 9 Eastern or thereabouts, Arizona and Arizona State. Purdue's got a win against the Wildcats already this year. Arizona's won the last 5 of these and 6 of 7, including a win just before New Year's this year. That game's coming up. Dave Pasch has extracted himself from Bill Walton for the night. He'll be with Fran and Molly. Stick around after Big Ten basketball. Dave's a saint, you know that?
I work with Dave. He does a great job. He's the beneficiary of some Bill Walton games.
That's true. You do a good Bill Walton impersonation. We'll get to at some point. Wisconsin opened 1 for 6 from 3. Brevin Pritzel can't change that for the good, and the rebound for Edwards.
Wisconsin runs a play for him there. Comes off a double screen, stagger action. Another good look, just unable to knock it down. Got to see some of these start to go for Wisconsin. You hung around. Got to see him get some positive momentum.
There's a confidence factor there, isn't it?
No doubt. You have to think in this building, this crowd is ready to really get it going, but you got to give them something to cheer for.
Haas out of the game. Harms defending Happ. Happ set the screen, goes into Harms. A nice defense from the big freshman from Amsterdam.
Really a stagnant possession for Wisconsin. Got to see that basketball move, shift that defense, and then allow Ethan Happ to go to work.
No-gel Eastern off the second chance, and the miss from Klein. Ryan Klein, who they'd like to get a little bit more offense from in the coming days. Ford. Rough start from 3.
No, it's just there's a lid on that basket right now. Another good look. Very frustrating for Greg Gard's team. Defensively, they are getting stops and playing hard.
Happ just swallows that shot.
See, Brevin Pritzel's got to be ready to shoot that. I know he hasn't made them, but you have to be prepared. Not ready on the catch. The guy they need. He's a guy that sometimes lacks confidence from the three-point line.
Yeah, he's missed a couple tonight already, and you can almost feel it in that non-take.
Didn't want to shoot it.
Davison does. Wisconsin 67.5 points a game, 13th in the Big Ten, and just 9 in the first half of this first.
But you know what? Your defense has done a good enough job of keeping you in this basketball game. Have to figure you keep getting good looks, keep running good offense. You're going to get something going if you're a Badger.
Klein travels, and there's more defense from the Badgers. Again, Purdue playing essentially every night to stay on the #1 line for Matt Painter after back-to-back close losses. Purdue is still a 1 seed in the West, according to Joe.
You see Villanova's still a 1 seed. They went down last night. Life is hard in college basketball, especially on the road.
They've been dinged up, too.
Yes,
I mean,
they
that's
have.
the one thing Purdue has had all year is the same starting lineup. One of 3 teams to get there this deep into the year. This is Big Ten football right now.
Yes, it is. And again, a good shot. He gets to his spot, goes over Vincent Edwards. You like what Wisconsin's doing.
Over the backboard, and Wisconsin basketball, 9:01 to go in the first. 12-9 in the 179th meeting between Badgers and Boilermakers. What was this rivalry for you?
It was great. I mean, you look at the guys Wisconsin had: John Lure, Trayvon Hughes, Jordan Taylor. really good Wisconsin teams. I love playing in the Kohl Center. This is a great building for college basketball. And when I was in college, and it still is today, a tough place to play, but nobody came in here and won. So it was always one of my favorite places to play.
A little chilly, though, with the ice.
But the floor is freezing. And our feet are feeling that right now.
Klein, the trailer, missed the three. Someone will make a shot.
Oh, again, another good look. Nobody able to make a shot right now.
You said before the game it's a pretty good shooting gym, right?
I've always felt that it is. I mean, the sight lines are good. It's a very typical, almost pro-style arena. It's good for me.
He says with a smile.
I like shooting here.
Half comes out after the fall.
I like the substitution at 8:24. Get Ethan Happ some time because you're going to need him. Get yourself to the media timeout. Get him back in the game.
Plays about 30 minutes a game.
You have to wonder with him on the bench, though, Jason, who is going to score for this Wisconsin team and who's going to create. It's going to have to be Brad Davison.
Very good defender, Matthias on him. Pritzel's open for the moment. He takes a long three and got it.
Why not? Well, of all the looks that Wisconsin's had tonight, probably the toughest shot they've taken goes down. And right now, this game is tied.
And he takes it away. Pritzel on Matthias, the reverse.
Confidence is a funny thing, Jason. You see that ball go through the rim, and all of a sudden, as a defender, you go out and make a play and get your team 2 points.
12-3 run for the Badgers. Matthias, the miss.
Well, Matt Painter just kind of shrugged his shoulders. I'm not sure. Well, I am sure he did not like that shot from Dakota Matthias. Got to run some offense, move that ball.
Almost 6 minutes without a field goal for Purdue. And Haas the rebound. Offense has not gone through him. He's been out for a chunk of this first half.
Have to think he is going to get a post touch on this possession.
Against Reavers. Haas. The miss.
You know, he's just off balance there. And when he's on balance, he's one of the best scoring bigs in the country. Right there, off balance, kind of hurried through his move. Gets to that right hand, but wasn't a good shot.
See there, Reavers was shot ready, but he missed it. Brevin Pritzel didn't want to take a shot earlier. He does now.
Well, Brevin Pritzel, confidence now flowing after hitting the 27-footer. You have to think, very good sign for this Wisconsin offense if guys not named Ethan Happ can get it going.
Versus freshman phenom.
Trae Young is so far ahead of the pack.
In a sonic blockbuster. Number 10 Kansas takes on number 4 Oklahoma, Tuesday at 7 on ESPN.
I think Trae Young will be involved in that game.
I would imagine, yes, he will probably play.
One of the great players in college basketball you may not have heard of. Kansas got a tough schedule down the stretch. Oklahoma and West Virginia remaining for the Jayhawks as they try to find themselves at the top of the Big 12 again. So Wisconsin, a couple of threes from Pritzel and Davison, and leading 14-12.
This is more of the Wisconsin defense that we've come to expect. I mean, we have traditionally seen teams that have guarded, kept games in the 60s. That hasn't been the case necessarily this year. They've honestly struggled at times. But tonight, they have made things tough for an offense that really is considered one of the best in all college basketball.
Looked like that was going to be Happ's foul, by the way. They called it against Reavers, so that's his second. Happ only with one. By the way, we mentioned the West Virginia game. That's coming up Saturday. UNC Louisville, you'll be down there to see the Cards and Heels. Fraternizing with the local media.
Always.
Carson Edwards. And the rebound to Wisconsin.
And another three-point shot off of no action. We've become so accustomed to seeing Purdue move the ball and get good shots through their offense. Right now, so much moving around, a lot of stagnant basketball being played.
Happ works his way in, ended up on the deck, and somehow Wisconsin's got the ball. Purdue has been rather lackadaisical in the first 15 minutes of this game, don't you think?
Very lackluster performance. That's a basketball you have to come up with, have to secure it, get it going the other way.
Edwards shows the double. Ford tried to make him pay.
William Ford is third in the Big Ten in three-point shooting, and he's gotten good looks tonight. Have to think the shot Greg Gard likes, but got to start making it.
Dakota Mathias tonight is looking for his own.
Yes, he is. And another shot that kind of has Matt Painter shaking his head.
Travel against Happ. Wisconsin turns it over. It's number 4 for the Badgers. A far cry from the 20 in the first meeting for Greg Gard in his second full season after taking over in December of 2015 for Bo Ryan, your former coach.
World University Games. One of the best the Big Ten has seen.
Haas with his first bucket after going 0 for 5 in the first game.
And his first touch in quite some time. I mean, Purdue has not looked to the big fella. Have to think with his size advantage, got to get him more things going on the block.
Davison got the 3.
You're Purdue, you want to bring that double team. Brad Davison right there going to make you pay. Nice swing action. That basketball moving. And this Badger fan back in the game.
Oh, Happ bailed on Haas. Davison from Pritzel. Got it! Timeout Purdue on Wisconsin.
A little defense, creating offense. So far, so good for the Badgers. A little turnover action. Get yourself going. 3-on-1 break. Good for Wisconsin.
Coming up in the Alfa Romeo halftime report with Coach Tom Crean, Dallin Cuff. I'm Adnan Burke. Joe Lunardi breaking down some early action when it comes to 1 and 2 seeds, some bubble busting as far as he sees it. But Dallin, what are you seeing from our game so far?
Purdue obviously coming off 2 losses. They've got to move the ball. Coach in the half court, it's a lot of dribbling, a lot of standing around, a stagnant offense with such a talented group. Got to move the rock.
Yeah, they don't look much different than they looked last week, and too many challenge shots. And what happens is Wisconsin wears you down by running a lot of movement offense, and then they're ending up taking a bad shot. But you got to come down and be a little bit more efficient on offense than what they are.
Right now, Badgers have the lead. JB, back to you.
Yeah, a lot of challenge shots, Coach Crean.
I mean, Purdue has taken now 21 shots, and 20 of them have been contested. So Wisconsin's defense looking more like the Wisconsin defense of old. They've done such a good job of pushing Isaac Haas for the most part off the block, not allowing him to operate, making him uncomfortable, and really have been there on the catch for all of Purdue's perimeter players.
Haas out of this play for the moment. Happ fronts him, and a block called against Wisconsin and Davison.
The Wisconsin fouls on Brad Davison is first, the team's fifth.
There have been possessions where Haas not only has not been involved, but he's not even been on the strong side of the play.
Well, Purdue has helped Wisconsin's defense, and you're right. He has not been on certain parts of plays, but they've taken some quick ones, and they've also taken some bad ones. And that has helped Wisconsin's defense, but you got to give credit to the Badgers. Thus far, they've done a tremendous job of making things tough. Look where Isaac Haas just caught that ball. He caught it on the three-point line.
Carson Edwards doesn't seem to care as he backs the 3. We're tied.
No, he doesn't. He knocks that 3 down off that dribble handoff and tells his teammates, "Get me the rock. I'm ready to get this thing going."
He's a great equalizer for Purdue, isn't he?
Well, he's a guy that can score in bunches, and he has no fear, no conscience. Sometimes that can be good, sometimes that can be bad. But he's a guy that can really get it going quickly.
Foul on Davison, so back-to-back fouls against Brad Davison. And don't forget, Saturday, 6:15 Eastern on ESPN. Oh, one of those must-win games in the Big 12 we hear so much about. West Virginia and Kansas. That first meeting in Morgantown was an outstanding game. West Virginia had an early lead. Kansas came back with Devontae Graham. It's also on the ESPN app. Saturday primetime presented by AT&T. Who you got in that one?
In Fog Allen, I'm going Kansas. They've been bad there, but I think big game atmosphere, I think they get it done.
Trying to chase down Texas Tech in that Big 12 ledger to try to win the league again. Half didn't have a lot of room underneath, and he still made it go.
How many bigs in any conference are you going to see get in the paint, back it out, go between the legs, get back in the paint, stay with the play, and finish over a 7-2 guy? That is great work by Ethan Happ, a guy that is so unique in his game, but also so productive.
Purdue's season low in the first half is 31 points. They're not going to get there tonight, that's for sure. That's how rare of a situation this is. Wisconsin playing tremendous defense.
That they are, but we're going to go back to the other end and see Ethan Happ getting his game on with the crossover dribble, staying with the play. Nice finish with the right hand. You said the Wisconsin defense, I mean, they have really packed it in. We see Dakota Mathias knock down. Nice three off an inbound play, but they've packed it in, made it tough on this Purdue team to get any sort of dribble penetration.
Timeout Wisconsin as Mathias ties the game for the 5th time. Purdue led 9-2. It's been all Wisconsin since then with 33 seconds to go in the half. $21 all at halftime. 3 touchdowns each. Purdue withstood an 8.5-minute drought in the first half to still end up in a deadlock in that first half. Jason Benetti, Robbie Hummel along with you. And what did we just see in 20 minutes there?
Well, not good basketball. Both teams shooting below 40%. I thought Wisconsin's offense got some decent looks. Purdue's offense, a little stagnant. Need to get it going here in the second half.
Let's take a look at both teams' plan for success. It's brought to you by Northwestern Mutual.
Yeah, and I think as we go through this game, you have to think with Purdue's offense. They haven't looked comfortable. Wisconsin's pushed them out a little bit. Good thing is for Matt Painter's team, they have more players than the Dallas Cowboys. And we've seen them run a lot of misdirection action where the action looks like it's going one way and it actually ends up going into the post for Isaac Haas. He has been uncomfortable. Wisconsin's done a good job. Only trapped him 3 times, but pushed him off the block and made things difficult for him. They've sent a few different looks. Credit Ethan Happ for doing a good job on the big fella.
Name a Division I school that has football and basketball that has more plays combined between its football coach, Jeff Brom, and Matt Painter.
I'm not sure you can. And we're going to see one right here set to get Isaac Haas the basketball. And again, Ethan Happ doing a tremendous job denying and getting the steal.
A little dribbling from Happ, too.
Now, he can do that. He can really handle the ball for being a center.
Brad Davison had 8 in the first half of the 21 for Wisconsin. Happ had 6. Happ had the mismatch, and Vince Edwards held the line.
And got it right to the rim. A good look. He struggled tonight. He's now 3 of 12. Have to think. But you know what? If you tell Greg Gard your best player is going to go 3 of 12 and you're going to be in this ball game, he'd be like, no way. I mean, there is no chance without him playing at a high level. But credit Wisconsin for doing just that.
For Purdue, what's at stake is likely a 1-seed line, at least for now. They have 3 games left in the regular season. Penn State Sunday, at Illinois next Thursday, and then home for Minnesota before the Big Ten tournament. Happ scores and ties it again.
Just a disappointing defensive possession for Purdue. You throw a 20-foot bounce pass through the lane. I mean, that should never happen if you're to the basketball. And Purdue just not impacting this game on the defensive end of the floor.
So much un-Purdue-like stuff going on in the first 22 minutes, don't you think?
Looked a little undisciplined, a little sloppy, not been the team that we've seen thus far throughout the season.
They won 19 in a row before the back-to-back losses to Ohio State and at Michigan State. last weekend. App scanning. Goes into Haas, nearly traveled, and Haas wins that one.
Isaac Haas did a good job not going for that fake. Stays down. Builds a wall. And when he does that, he's incredibly difficult to score over.
Oh, Pretzel tips it out of bounds. It was right there with him. And Purdue will have it, but the Boilers, number 6 in the country right now, still a 1 seed according to Joe Lunardi. And you search for bad losses for this team. Western Kentucky is as much as you're going to find, but that's not a bad team either.
No, they've done well in their conference this season. Very solid resume for Purdue. However, these last few games, we are starting to see a trend of just not making shots. Last 5 games, they've shot 33% from 3, and tonight, just 30 again. But really what concerns me is Michigan State, they got some good looks. They haven't had great looks tonight that they've been able to generate out of their offense.
A typical Purdue ball movement hasn't been there for part of this night, as well as Edwards does it himself this time, Vince Edwards.
And any more of that. That's just Vince Edwards making something out of nothing and going and making a play with his right hand. That's the Vince Edwards this Purdue team needs.
One of 4 seniors in the starting lineup for Purdue. Carson Edwards, the only non-senior, a sophomore.
Got P.J. Thompson guarding Nate Reavers. Khalil Iverson out there knocking down the jumper.
It was a 2, though. He's still over for the year from 3, but that's his first point of the night, Khalil Iverson. That's record-setting stuff where he is in terms of the number of threes he's taken that he hasn't made one this year. And there's a foul called against Reavers. That's his 3rd personal defending Haas.
I have to like the physicality that Isaac Haas brought to the game right there. Nate Reavers, a guy that cannot handle Haas's size on the block, and you see him dislodge him there. They got him. Yeah, he reaches in. That's a good call by this.
Yeah, but Robbie, officiating crew. Alternatively, what about that arm bar in your neck as he's posting you up?
I thought Reavers got him initially with the dislodge, and then Haas goes back and fouls him, and they get him on the 3rd one.
So you thought it should have been a foul on Reavers initially?
Yes. He's a tough guy to officiate. I mean, he is just so big, and I don't think a lot of these guys have ever seen a player like him. They have really struggled to officiate.
Who would you compare him to that you've played against? Anybody?
Honestly, no. I mean, you look at like 90s basketball. If this is the 90s and the Knicks are starting like Patrick Ewing and Anthony Mason and Charles Oakley at the 3, 4, and 5, he's that type of center that you'd bring in to bang with him. I don't think I've ever, even the NBA, the big centers are Andre Drummond, DeAndre Jordan. There's not many guys like him.
I thought you were going to say George Murison, one of your acting favorites.
Play with George Murison. I did watch My Giant though as a kid.
Yeah, quite a bit, I'm sure. 6 to shoot for Davison. He pulls the trigger and missed everything. By the way, we're scheduled to be joined by Frank Kaminsky coming up shortly. We'll get a close-up look at his red suit that he had custom made for tonight. And after our game, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, the Pac-12, Arizona and Arizona State, both of them ranked. Purdue with a win against the Wildcats earlier this year. That one coming up when we are done right here on ESPN. Haas is working out his hand over on the sideline. Arms in for Haas. Carson Edwards finds himself open and cashes in.
Not very good defense there by Wisconsin on a night where they've been so good all night. Just a little dribble handoff action for Carson Edwards. Their defense gets lost. Have to stay connected to his hip. Cannot allow him any free space because he's so comfortable coming off the screens or handoffs.
Double comes from Carson Edwards. Hemp scores and a foul. Time. Back here to the Kohl Center, and it's a big night for number 44, Frank Kaminsky. Watching his number go up as he sits with us. Frank Kaminsky, one of the greats all time here at Wisconsin. So your number is going up in the rafters. Where's your mind at that point?
All over the place. I've been thinking about what I was I couldn't even. We played in Orlando last night, and I got back last night and had to fly this morning. I couldn't sleep last night because I was thinking about the 2-minute speech that I was gonna have to make. That was what I was most nervous about. I was thinking about that the whole time when I walked out. I'm like, please don't make me make this speech.
What did Wisconsin mean to you? Because you were talking about how immature you said you were when you first got here. What did Wisconsin do for you?
It started before I got to Wisconsin. You know, I struggled in high school. I had a lot to grow up. You know, not only physically but mentally. You know, I was a troublemaker in high school. You know, I needed guidance, and that's when my high school coach really stepped in and really vouched for me. He really sold me to a lot of these schools. You know, not a lot of schools wanted to offer me a scholarship. So when I got to Wisconsin, I felt like I had a lot to prove. You know, I was still growing into myself, both physically and mentally. But, I mean, this school challenged me from the second I got on campus and challenged me in the ways that I needed to be challenged. And it made me into the man that I am today. And that's what you want. You know, that's what my parents hoped for when I was picking a school. And that's what, you know, I love the most about this place is that it turned me into the person that I am today and will be going forward.
So I have to ask, you're drafted by Charlotte. Obviously, Michael Jordan owns the team. What is your best MJ story?
He gambles on the weirdest things.
That's not surprising to hear.
I think we were in the locker room the training room last year, and I was getting treatment before the game, and he was sitting in there. And I think West Virginia was playing, and West Virginia was up like 15. He's like, oh, I bet West Virginia only goes into the half up 7. I was like, okay, I'll take that bet. I was like, I'll bet you $5. And West Virginia goes into the half up by 22 or something like that. It wasn't even close. He was so mad that he lost the bet too.
For $5?
For $5.
I think he can spare it.
Yeah, he'll be okay. I also want to ask you, you know, it's cool to see all your teammates out there, and I know just from playing, when you play with a group of guys and you have success and you're able to be around those dudes, how cool is it to be able to share that moment today where you're with them? Because really, there's nothing like playing in college. There's nothing better than that. I'm sure it had to be pretty cool for you.
I think it says a lot about our program, you know, and where we were at that time. You know, it was a brotherhood. You know, we were here for most of the people 3+ years, and to have them come back and be so supportive, and I mean, it's everything I ever wanted. You know, this school is everything I ever wanted it to be and more. You know, it exceeded my expectations, not only basketball-wise, but, you know, the friends that I've made and the people that have become like family to me. I mean, I just don't know how to describe it. You know, those are my best friends, and they're going to be around in a big part of my life, you know, for as long as I can dare to think.
You described some of your friends as a bunch of idiots.
Oh, yeah. My friends sitting up in the suites up there, they know who they are. See, here's the thing about my friends. They know that they're idiots, but they're the most loyal idiots in the entire world, and I couldn't ask for better friends than them.
Hey, tell us about this coat, because it has like your jersey inside of it. Is that right?
On the back. Yeah, it has my jersey printed on the inside.
How about that? That's pretty rocking.
Taylor, yeah.
Yeah, he did a good job. I got to give a shout out to my guy at ESQ in Chicago. He did it right for me.
So, speaking of, I know you're a big White Sox fan, right?
Huge.
And so some people that are friends of mine on the South Side heard about your jersey retirement, okay? And they wanted to give you something. So I've got something for you on your 44 night.
Oh, my goodness.
It's an 83 White Sox replica jersey with Kaminsky on it.
That's awesome.
44. So
that is awesome. This one's getting hung up.
Yeah?
Absolutely. I guarantee you, I bring this back up into the suite, and my dad takes it instantly and doesn't give it back.
Are you serious?
That's my dad's thing now. He comes and he takes all of my stuff and doesn't ask for it. He just takes it, and I'll see him wearing like a coat or something of mine. Like a month later, he'll be like, oh, or I'll say, where'd you get it? And he'll be like, oh, I just took it out of your closet. Oh, thanks for asking. So this is going to be one of those things.
Yeah, it's a legit 83 Sunday jersey
awesome.
for you.
Cool.
How about that?
This is awesome.
Yeah, good to have friends on the South Side, right?
Absolutely.
So what's it like being back here for you? Like, what are you feeling right now?
I feel awesome. I love being back here. You know, here's the thing. I spent so much time on this campus. I spent the better part of all four of my years here on campus at the school. So I know everything there is to know. Obviously, there's some new apartment buildings and stuff like that. But, you know, just how loud and how crazy this arena is right now just brings back so many memories.
Gives you chills, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It really does.
No place like home, for sure.
The question is, what is the final score going to be, though?
Can they even get to your jersey number right now? Are they going to get to 44?
I don't know.
That might be first team to 44. Takes this thing
12
home.
minutes left, 32-29. I mean, you know, when I went into the league, the rep about Wisconsin basketball is that they play a low-scoring game, so I guess this is right on par.
What's your NBA experience been like?
It's been great. You know, I've gotten the opportunity to meet a lot of people, do a lot of awesome things, and play basketball. You know, the game I love.
So who's the guy that you've played against and you've been like, oh man, I played against that guy?
LeBron. Yes. I mean, I remember LeBron getting drafted. You know, obviously now I play with Dwight Howard, and he was another guy that I can remember getting drafted. You know, I remember all the hype around him. So it's pretty crazy that the guys that I saw growing up and guys I idolized when I was a kid, now, you know, I've had the opportunity to even play with some of them.
Who you got tonight? You got the Badgers coming back here?
Yeah.
How could he not? Of course he's going to take that.
Look, I was giving him an opportunity. We got to even this out. We got a Purdue guy who was there for 15 seasons sitting next to him.
And it's funny. You know, one of my really good friends that sits up there, he was the Purdue Pete mascot for
nice.
Right. 5 years. So he was coming to this game regardless before he heard that, you know, my jersey was being retired. And he has gotten so many bad looks and everything. It's crazy.
Frank, great pleasure getting to chat with you.
Yeah.
Enjoy the night.
Congratulations, man.
Frank
Awesome
Kaminsky
honor.
here at the Kohl Center. His number up in the rafters for good.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the 2018 Lexus ES and ES Hybrid. See your Lexus dealer.
Big 12 as the ultimate diaper dandy lands in Lawrence. Oklahoma versus Kansas, Monday at 9 on ESPN.
As good of a game as you're going to see in the Big 12. Oklahoma and Kansas getting together on Big Monday. It's a Sonic blockbuster. Trae Young versus Devontae Graham as the Sooners try and figure out how to steady their footing. It's been a struggle recently to get in the win column as Fritzl has to fight for this loose ball. Six to shoot. Half on Haas. Double comes at the steal for Eastern. And the whistle goes against Wisconsin. They get two and a foul.
But you know what, Jason? That was Purdue's best defensive possession of the night. No-Gel Eastern applies pressure to Brad Davison the whole way up the floor. They send the double to Ethan Happ. Ends up turning the basketball over. Use that defense. Make some offense. Something you got to do in these grinding out games when you're not necessarily in any sort of flow, but you can get yourself going in transition.
You know it. This is the type of game that can happen in the NCAA tournament.
No doubt, and it can happen we are in February now. You're getting into the grind of that season. It can happen throughout your season as well. There are games that you have to just grind through, and you have to win. If you're Purdue, if you're Wisconsin, you've got a huge opportunity here. You need to take advantage of it in the last 10 minutes.
No-Gel Eastern playing significant minutes here in the second half for Purdue.
Defensively, he brings an aspect to this team that not many other guys can. Very good defender, can apply pressure, and you're going to see him hawking Brad Davison, bringing the ball to the floor.
He created the foul there against Iverson, the offensive foul against Wisconsin. And we talked about it in the open. Teams are defending Purdue differently. The double has not come much against Isaac Haas tonight.
Well, yeah, this is what teams are saying is the new blueprint to guard this Purdue team. Going to let them play one-on-one. You see single coverage on 19 of those points. He's going to be able to go to work, but need to get him the ball more. You see so much right now. It's been a lot of Carson Edwards. Need to find the big guy. You know Purdue has so many sets to get him going.
Where does it need to come from? What do you want to see from Purdue to get the ball into the post?
It can't just be a post feed. It has to be action where you move the basketball from side to side. Maybe they're so good. I said it earlier in the night. They're so good with the misdirection where they run somebody off the screen and then run another guy out the backside and you get it to Isaac Haas. And he wanted the lob right there. Now he's got Brevin Pritzel. Have to get it to him.
We're going to get a foul against Wisconsin, and it's Pritzel down low.
The Wisconsin fouls on Brevin Pritzel is third.
Third on Pritzel. Davison has 3 as well. So does Reavers. And this is going to be a 1-and-1. Matt Painter was signaling. Pritzel, by the way, is 6'3". Isaac Haas is 7'2". It's not the easiest guard.
No. But it's not an easy guard for anybody. If I was to go stand next to him, I'm 6'8". I feel like a midget. I mean, he is so big. He really makes you feel small.
That was just the second free throw attempt of the night for either team. One for 2, rebound for Happ. 7 in a row for Purdue. How does Wisconsin break it?
I would expect to see Ethan Happ. It looks like Wisconsin going to run some swing here. Try to move the ball from side to side, run that patented offense.
Tough shot for Davison. And now the Purdue defense has cinched it up. Eastern bumped and he scores.
Well, no-gel Eastern struggles have been well documented this year. Hasn't shot the basketball great, has struggled from the free throw line. But right now he is giving great minutes to Matt Painter's team. And here in transition, just kind of takes Brevin Pritzel right into that paint. Beautiful right-hand finish. This guy with a lot of ability. Highly ranked coming in as a freshman, showing his worth here tonight in Madison.
He was number 78 in the ESPN 100, and he just drew the 4th foul against Brevin Pritzel. So Schlunk back in for Wisconsin, and Purdue has scored 10 in a row.
Big possession here for Wisconsin. You'd think you're going to try to ISO Ethan Happ. Well, actually, Greg Garr going to talk it over. That's a good timeout.
Boilermakers have struggled through the offense at points tonight. They lead by 7, their largest.
Duke it out for the Big 12 as the ultimate diaper dandy lands in Lawrence. Oklahoma versus Kansas, Monday at 9 on ESPN.
Big 12 regular season title is on the line essentially every game for the Kansas Jayhawks now, with a couple of losses they'd like to have back. And for Matt Painter's Boilermakers, a chance still to win the Big 10 regular season title, but you basically have to run the table, you would imagine.
You would think so. It's going to be tough sledding for them. Ohio State with some tough road games. Tie with Michigan State right now in the loss column. A lot of games left, though.
Wisconsin more than 3 minutes without a point. Happ was fouled on the reach in, and he scores.
Ethan Happ showing off the footwork and operating in a crowd. Dakota Mathias had turned his back to Khalil Iverson and essentially gone down to double team Happ. Really just a patient move. Shows the footwork off nice up and under. Draws the foul, and what an answer here for this Wisconsin offense.
I want to ask you, because Happ basically lost his whole group, right? A bunch of guys graduate. You were in a similar situation at Purdue. What's that like?
It's tough. You know, when I got injured, we had a team with Etwan Moore, Jawan Johnson, Chris Kramer, Keaton Grant. When I came back, none of those dudes were still on the team.
We got a foul on Wisconsin on that bullet pass, by the way.
Wow, I'm shocked that was a foul.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one. But, no, when I came back, none of those guys were there. So you come back to a new team, that's kind of what Ethan Happ has gone through. But you got to give him credit. Has not made excuses. Knows he's he is the main option at this point. And he knows that every night he has to bring a great effort for this team to have a chance in Big Ten games, especially against the upper echelon teams.
Suddenly you're the old guy.
I know, man. It's getting sad.
No. I'm not saying now. I'm saying like then.
Oh, yeah.
You were around.
Right. No.
I do say mean things, but I didn't mean it then.
No, I thought you were being mean. You're right. Yes, you become the old guy, and Ethan Happ has become that guy for this team.
Thank you for helping my reputation there.
We'll precede you.
Aaron Maish Senior is checked in. He's got the post feed for Happ. Double comes from Klein. Maish missed it on the doorstep on a whistle.
Got to convert that. But that is such a good job by Ethan Happ. Staying with it, seeing the double team, not losing his cool, keeping his head up, and finding the cutting Maish, who was right at the rim. Those are buckets that, if you're Greg Gard and you're a Wisconsin Badger fan, you just think, man, got to have those.
What a skilled passer Ethan Happ is.
Just a good player, and a player that really we have not seen anybody like. I'm not sure who he compares to, and I say that as a compliment. There's not a lot of guys that wouldn't shoot the ball well from the perimeter and still be able to operate the way he does, especially in crowds. He doesn't really have that ability to play off of a closeout. People don't close out to him super hard. He doesn't make threes like that.
Hey, he's got 1
of 10 on the year. Yeah. So he does that by changing pace, changing directions, and with his handle, he can do that.
Matthias catch and shoot. One and done for Purdue. Wisconsin hanging around. Happ wanted to pass. And Wisconsin settles in. Happ well off the block. Eastern comes on the double, and he raked it away. Eastern gets the block. 2 free throws for Purdue, and no gel Eastern when we come back in a tight one.
Adnan Burke back in our college basketball studios, updating you on number 5 Cincinnati facing Houston. This is Devon Davis here. The up and under. A bit of resilience there pays off. So currently that game is a 2-point score in favor of Houston. Also Temple and Wichita State. What happened to the Shockers at the half? They woke up. Now on ESPN2, Temple won a Joel Nardi's next 4 out, and that's now a 1-point game. Come up next, a great college basketball doubleheader here on ESPN. DeAndre Ayton is outstanding. Arizona at Arizona State. Also outstanding, Jason Benetti.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Adnan's been running around the studio yelling Frank the Tank all night in honor of Kaminsky. Rob Gray, by the way, for Houston, one of the best scorers you probably haven't seen. He can really fill it up. Not that you haven't seen him. I'm talking to people at home. I know you watch a lot of basketball.
He can get buckets. He is impressive.
No gel Eastern has played important minutes tonight for Purdue.
No, he has. He's changed the game. He came in here, and he's doing it right now. Going to pressure Brad Davison, who's a shooting guard by nature. Going to pressure him 94 feet. And he has gotten steals. He's forced Wisconsin to be uncomfortable. Really came in and made an impact on this game defensively, and then used that to get his offense going.
Now Carson Edwards is right in Davison's pocket with 6 to shoot. Illikainen in. Aleem Ford late in the shot clock. The miss and an offensive rebound for Iverson.
Purdue so fortunate there. Ford has not shot the ball well tonight, but a guy that shot it well in the season, and they full rotate there and leave him wide open. Ford just 1 of 7 on the night. It's been a struggle.
Again, late in the timer. Screen from Illikainen. Davison is fouled on the way up with 4 to shoot.
Well, that's what you got to do if you're Brad Davison. No gel Eastern wants to come in and heat you up. You got to take him right to the rim. He does just that. Nice crossover dribble move. Get in that paint. Get yourself a foul. Get to the line. Here it is. Eastern gets shook by that crossover. Nice play by Brad Davison.
Kind of had the look of the former high school football quarterback, which he was. You never played any football, did you?
Eighth grade. I was bad. It didn't go well.
People are going to make T-shirts. 8th grade, I was bad. Robbie Hummel football T-shirts. All-Star Weekend Friday in Los Angeles. That's why Kaminsky can be here tonight. 7 Eastern. ESPN has the celebrity game. Rachel Nichols, Tracy McGrady, Michael B. Jordan have Team Lakers. Katie Nolan, Paul Pierce, and Common have Team Clippers. You can also watch it on the ESPN app. Suddenly, this is a 4-point game again. Purdue has lost 2 in a row. Carson Edwards, tough shot, my goodness.
That is great defense by Khalil Iverson. You cannot do it any better, but just better offense by Carson Edwards. That's a tough bank shot off the window. You got to just tip your cap to him on that. If you're Khalil, know that you did the best you could.
He's got to be so frustrating to defend.
No, he's got a lot of ability. You know, he's a guy that can really score the basketball, and right there, he showed you.
Hap.
Great pass.
Ford was fouled by Harms. It was close to a clean block. 2 free throws coming on the 4th foul against Harms, the redshirt freshman.
Ethan Hap, man. What a great find. I mean, Purdue defended that pretty well. He got caught in the air a little bit. Probably was starting to feel that uh-oh feeling when you get up there, and luckily found Alil Ford cutting in at the last minute.
I don't know how he saw him, Robbie.
No, it was a great pass.
What you lose there with Harms in foul trouble is the ability to sneak a couple of minutes for Isaac Haas.
Haas just 8 points. Only 5 shot attempts. We talked about it earlier. He's had double-digit shot attempts the last 4 or 5 games. Right now, isolation for him, going to that right jump hook.
That's his comfortable spot, and he missed it.
Pretty good look. Have to think you're okay with that if you're Matt Painter. Wisconsin, they have hung around tonight. They're right there.
Again, you talked about being shot ready. Ford was not. Hap goes to work. It's a 2-point game.
Just so quick. I mean, he can just get by big guys and use that ball handling ability to score the ball in ways that not many big guys can. And here's this Badger crowd again, trying to get their team to get another stop.
Carson Edwards wanted to shoot, didn't, and Hap a one-armed rebound.
They got numbers.
Davison. Iverson. Frank loves it. Tie game.
Well, Brad Davison had a really pretty good shot, but he gave that up, and he got a great shot. He finds Khalil Iverson right at that rim. And right now, Wisconsin's offense really effective. We're going to see Ethan Hap go to that spin move, spin cycle on Isaac Haas, gets to his left hand, and then Brad Davison, nice little pass into Khalil Iverson, who gets his big man going with a dunk.
Feels like Camp Randall in here right now, and Purdue trying to avoid that 3rd straight loss. Last time they did that last time anybody did that as a 1 seed with a 3-game losing streak was 2013, and Purdue trying to hang on that one line under Joe Lunardi's bracketology right now.
Well, we've seen it all year in college basketball. You go on the road in conference play, and life is not easy. Right now, you see the number 6 ranked Purdue Boilermakers with all they can handle here up at the Kohl Center.
That's going to be an offensive foul against Purdue. First foul on Haas.
We're going to see Wisconsin's defense a little behind there on Carson Edwards. Man, that is like getting hit by a freight train. That's a big boy right there.
He can clean you out now.
Yes, he can.
Pritzel on the floor with 4 fouls, 10 to shoot.
Isaac Haas has done a nice job denying half the ball. Got him some pick and pop action, but Davison going to make a play.
Stripped and fouled. It's on Carson Edwards. And he'll get 2 shots. Davison will.
He just felt this wave of momentum, and it's absolutely shifted. Purdue almost felt like they had this game in control just 2 or 3 minutes ago. But credit Wisconsin, they've come roaring back. And now 2 free throws with a chance to take the lead.
For a young man who's dealt with a bum shoulder for the balance of the season, Brad Davison, a very good free throw shooter.
This dude has taken 30 charges. That has to lead college basketball or be in the vicinity. That's more than one a game. With his shoulder, got hit. He's got, Coach Guard said, 2 hip pointers. I mean, you talk about tough. This dude's a gamer. Right there. Gives his team a 2-point lead.
8-0 run, Wisconsin. Haas traveled.
Well, Ethan Happ, veteran move, pull that chair out from underneath Isaac Haas. And Wisconsin again forces a turnover.
Those two guys know each other so well. They know the whole playbook.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been a battle. I've seen Ethan Happ and Isaac Haas go up against each other so much over the last few years. We're going to see it again right here, because we're going to get a healthy dose of Ethan Happ, and we're going to get a healthy dose of Isaac Haas.
Which big will do it for his team? Happ and Haas in a 2-point game under 4 to go.
Break, give it the Kohl Center, JB.
Yeah, we'll get out to the Valley of the Sun in a little while. 45-43 as it stands right now. That's a big win possibly for Temple, by the way. Could propel them into the tournament. Really no lose with Wichita State being such a good win. As Happ works on Vince Edwards, 2 to shoot. He got it in.
Such a tough move right there by Ethan Happ. Gets the switch, the smaller Vincent Edwards there, and takes advantage with a beautiful left hook.
What's this possession look like?
I think it's got to be Carson Edwards. Have not seen much from him, but it's going to be Vince and Carson in the corner.
Vince draws a whistle in the paint.
The Wisconsin Powell's on lane 4 in his second.
Just 6 points tonight for Vince Edwards.
The shot clock winding down. Ethan Happ using that size, taking his time. Nice little lefty hook. So talented in that painted area. He has had a very, very good second half.
Ethan Happ is right now a point away from 11th place on the Wisconsin scoring list, and Frank Kaminsky this Kaminsky night. How'd you like to get passed on the scoring list when your jersey's retired?
Only be appropriate. Not sure everybody in the building will know the occasion is coming, but pretty cool on that night.
Davison, too strong, and that's going to be a foul against Wisconsin, and Ethan Happ's 4th. That's a needless foul.
No, it is, and it's a tough one. You're going to send Purdue's offense 94 feet down to the foul line. Brad Davison, he got the ball to the rim. Really a breakdown in Purdue's pick and roll defense. But it's tough. 4 fouls on Ethan Happ. Have to think that Nate Reavers is at the scoring table. Going to give Happ a little bit of a breather here.
Happ with 4, Pritzel with 4, Reavers has 3. And Haas, 77% for the year. The miss. And don't forget, 11 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app after Arizona State and Arizona. Linda Cohn, Kenny Mayne tell you about DeAndre Ayton and how he might translate to the NBA. Some top plays of the NBA's first half, and then Tiger reacting to his round. Welcome back, Tiger. And the free throw good for Haas. So a 1-point game. Last 3 for Purdue.
This is where Wisconsin going to really have to manufacture offense. They're going to run their swing. No Ethan Happ. It's going to rely, it looks like here now, going to be Brad Davison ball screen action. Got to make a play.
Step back, Davison, long jumper.
He has shown all season that he is comfortable stepping back, especially going to his left hand. But I'm not sure he's made a step back jumper any bigger than that one.
Haas on Reavers. And we're going to get a foul against Reavers. That's his 4th.
Hey, Reavers looking like, what else can I do? And on the other end, Brad Davison, beautiful step back. Look at the space he creates. So good right there. Using that push off with that right leg. You see so many guys that step back, they don't go anywhere. Right there, he got away from Carson Edwards, and that's why he's able to get that jumper off.
Yeah, there's an idea behind the move, not just to look good. Yeah. Young man who's very important to this Wisconsin program as it tries to grow out of what looks like its first missed NCAA tournament since 1998, unless something changes dramatically. Happ on the floor with 4 personals. Pritzl as well. Haas gave some ground. Happ scores!
He's taking Isaac Haas to school right now with his footwork. And that is another big-time move by a big-time player in a huge situation.
He just passed Frank Kaminsky on the all-time scoring list and Bronson Koenig. Now 10th. Iverson right there with Edwards, and he blocked the shot.
That is so big time by Khalil Iverson. Carson Edwards coming off the triple screen, stays right there with him, and then blocks his shot when he tries to pull in his face.
And Eastern with the wrap-up of Happ, who's not a good free throw shooter. Rarely does Carson Edwards see somebody so close to him off a screen like that.
I mean, Khalil Iverson did everything right there. He trailed him right on his hip, was in his grill, and when he went to pull, Iverson uses his size and blocks his shot.
That foul was with intent.
Yes. And this is the one aspect of Ethan Happ's game where you have to think it's just not there. I mean, you're going to shoot around 50% from the free throw line at the end of games. Just makes it that you're almost a liability to be on the floor.
0 for 2 for Happ. P.J. Thompson scoreless tonight.
But Mathias has been super quiet.
2 points.
There's a battle going on down low.
Edwards scores.
That's just a big time move. Vincent Edwards right there. Using the spin move, a lean forward. Had nothing for him.
Happ tried to give it up, but the foul came from Thompson. And that's just some level of awareness a little bit too late. He wanted to discard it, but it was after the foul. Happ has the first. Will it be a 3-game losing streak for Purdue? 1 minute to go.
Purdue's so dangerous. So many guys that can hurt you right here. Look for some screening action. Look for Dakota Mathias.
There he is. He missed it, and Iverson the rebound. Davison, an 80% foul shooter. Do you play defense or foul here?
I'm getting a stop. If I'm coaching, I'm playing to stop Wisconsin on this play.
Pritzl, 84% from the foul line. 30 seconds to go. And they're going to get a foul against Haas, holding Happ to send Happ to the free throw line. Matt Painter is frustrated as we take a look at the Wendy's Wooden Watch. Purdue 3 points down here as we look at our Wendy's Wooden Watch for the night. Carson Edwards, Vince Edwards, Keita Bates-Diop, Bridges from Michigan State. 2 guys involved in this game as Happ tries to salt it away. And the first run good.
You said Matt Painter frustrated. That's an understatement. I mean, you just ran off the shot clock down to 10. I know Happ isn't the best free throw shooter, but at that point, you can stop the balls at half court.
Yeah, the window is closed for the foul.
You got to play that one out.
Largest lead for Wisconsin. Carson Edwards off the hot screen. Hit the front iron, and it is a foul. We've got a foul down low. And if that's Hap, it's his 5th. It is. That's the leadership we were talking about. Hap's been forced into with all the graduation that you're seeing right now.
No, and you lose your guy. We're going to see what Wisconsin's made of. They're in good shape, up 5. I'm going to take another look here at this foul. And there's Hap. Doesn't really give Carson Edwards much space to land. You see down low, it is a grown man game. Going for that rebound.
So Hap on the challenge of the shot, which has been a hallmark tonight for Wisconsin. Hands in faces, does foul Edwards.
This has been a vintage Wisconsin defensive performance. You're holding a team that's as powerful as this Purdue one to 49 points. Great job on the defensive end. And really a great game plan by Greg Gard.
Second one good, one left. 22 tonight for Carson Edwards. Costly foul. Only worth 2 though. And here comes Pritzel with a foul on Matthias.
The foul on the court of Matthias is 2nd.
Well, we said early that maybe the historical energy in this building with Kaminsky and his crew could add a little to the Badgers tonight, and it seems to have done so.
Talk about closing the door. Wisconsin making their free throws. They've also made 5 of their last 6 field goals. That's getting it done in winning time.
Pritzel gets the bounce. 19 seconds to go. Carson Edwards has the screen. Edwards missed it short. Rebound Iverson. And Wisconsin can put it away. My, oh my, what a night for the Badgers.
What a win this is going to be for Greg Gard's team. When you can now look at your guys and say, look at what we're doing. We can beat really good people. A team that's ranked 6th in the country. Just got to follow what we're doing. We got to believe. It's been a tough season. There's no question about that. You're playing a lot of young guys. A lot of guys out here that are going to be in the Wisconsin program for the next 2 or 3 years. So it's going to be so important for them. Stay with what they've got. Greg Gard talked about it. We've changed the culture. We had to have a reset. And right now, this was a good old-fashioned Wisconsin win.
Tip is good. Game over. 3 in a row in the loss column for Purdue. And the Badgers rush the floor as they honor Frank Kaminsky. You get the feeling if Frank was closer to the court, he'd be there too.
No, I think it's fair to say that if Frank Kaminsky could come down from his suite and get in there, he would be right in the middle. Oh, actually, you know what? Here he comes. What a win for Wisconsin. Got to be happy for these kids. They have stuck with it all season.
The slowest court rush